Hello everyone, and welcome back to session 14, this time around, of Journey to Ragnarok, with a new homepage for the party and their troubles. As always, we kick it off with a very special recap. Take it away, local bard.
Your favorite local bard, yes. Seemingly safe, the circlet crown seer. The party recognizes ruins to shelter their rest. Then on to Thegalverdir and blood-soaked abodes, where massive monstrosity mauled bodies and buildings. Following foe tracks, a bloody bear found. Tobias sees shape-changer savaged by unquiet Ursa. Astrid hurries to heal, and massive men materialize out of their hiding place, harried and hurt. Beric Stoneclaw, leader of Bear Clan, blusteringly berates heroes for intemperate interference, but changes tune when Adalbjorn attacks and hard presses the party and accidental allies. Clan chief's brother, corrupted by rune thief, with magic protection in protruding bones, ravages recklessly, bloodline be damned, until felled from fierce fighting from heroes and clan. Magicked monstrosity returns to man, malevolent markings inscribed on skin. For conscripted kin, an attempt to extricate converted to kinslaying, all unwilling. Warning of wolves, the party proffers friendship. As thanks for assisting, 2 gifts are given. The weirded warpick, Stoneclawed the crumbling, and dire disclosure of army advancing against Heil Hofn.
And as you all are sprinting through the great forest, a cold wind shakes the canopy from the trees around you. You would all know that the forest allows no respite and shows no pity to anyone. But your goal is clear. Reaching Heil Hofn and warning the king about the threat that is about to hit the capital with the fury of a hurricane. For this reason, you look up to the sky and silently pray, hoping that your words reach the gods and that the weather doesn't get any worse. And I would like to ask the 4 of you, as you are sprinting with Astrid in the lead towards this fishing village through the great forest, please give me perceptions. Astrid, you get advantage.
Hey!
I will add my d4 after I roll.
Okay. We're going to go in order of lowest to highest. Lowest, stormy, you're just running. You're just dead on. You don't... nothing catches your eye. Gwyn, as you're running, similar to the faces in the trees you've seen previously, when you were being haunted by the soldiers of old, you're running through the great forest, and for a split second, you spy a similar fixture in one of the trees. However, this time, it doesn't scare you. It's not there to terrify you and drag you to your demise. Rather, instead of a singular face, you see a full figure. A full figure, almost stuck, living, watching within this large tree, just watching you run. Do you...
I keep going. I don't acknowledge it. I don't tell to the party. I keep running. We are on a mission, and unless this thing makes a very direct gesture to me, even though it's just watching. As long as it's not trying to make any contact with me, I keep going without any pause.
Okay. Tobias, you're sprinting as well. You're running in this direction that you were told to run. You feel... you're looking around in every direction, looking for this village, and you see a figure. However, in the back of your mind, something doesn't feel right. You get the sense that there should be more standing and watching you, but you can't remember. However, the single figure you see as you're sprinting, you catch glimpses of them behind a tree every now and then. You know, you look back, they're behind another tree, and then they're gone. But you see a single, large, cloaked figure just watching your path. Do you keep running, or do you look back?
I do look back, but I'm still running.
So give me another perception check.
Okay.
As you look back at this figure watching you, they weren't in the previous position they were in, as I described. They appear behind another tree. However, as they're watching you, for the split second that you turn back, you swear that you see two ravens land on each of your shoulders. And then the figure is gone. Astrid. Unless there's anything more.
Oh, I was just gonna RP something. As we're running, I'm gonna kind of pray loudly. Odin, let us arrive in time. Let us save your people.
Astrid, you're running. You're at the head of this group. Before I ask you, or before I tell you what you see, I want to ask you, after being informed that an army of possibly more corrupted men like you just fought is marching on your home, your city, what is Astrid feeling in this moment as she sprints through the Great Forest?
She's panicking. She's probably more scared of this than anything that they have seen so far. Because it's a very deep loyalty to her people, to her home, and that's what she's discovering, is that this feels like the worst thing that could possibly happen. So she's got a lot of adrenaline.
As you're thinking this, and you're running, all this adrenaline pumping through you, and this is a callback to every other time I've asked you to make perception checks, you finally see it. You see a similar cloaked figure to one that Tobias has been talking about. And as you turn and look through the trees, you see it slowly raise one arm and point out one finger in the direction that you're heading. And I want to ask you, just like Tobias, just like Gwyn, do you keep going forward, or do you look back to see if they're still there?
Oh, man. Given who Astrid thinks this might be, because I assume she sees the ravens also.
There are no ravens.
Oh. She can't help glancing back.
Give me another perception with advantage.
Okay.
You glance back. They're still standing exactly where they were before, however far away. They are pretty far away from you. And they're still pointing. You don't see ravens landing on their shoulders. You don't see a placement where an eye might be, but you do notice that whatever figure is pointing in your direction, their mouth is sewn shut. And as you turn, you see this. You're able to zone in on it. You see the brutal sewing closing their mouth. And just like that, they're gone.
Oh. Neat. Okay. So, oh dear. Astrid has this moment where she just wants to keep running full out, but she recognizes who that might be, so she just skids to a halt in the snow and says, "Stop. Stop. Stop. Stop."
Is everything all right, Astrid?
No. Did anybody else see that person behind us?
I did see somebody, but I didn't think we had time to address them.
Same.
We don't, but I think it was Loki pointing the way that we're going. What does that mean? Do we keep going this way? What do we do?
I think we're running through a forest, right?
Yes, not just the forest, the great forest that you've been spending majority of your adventures in.
Okay.
Except the terrain in this area is more mountainous, considering the journey you made upwards. But it is still the great forest.
Okay. I will look over at Tobias and say, Vyre is the god of the forest. I wonder if we offer a prayer up to him, he could provide us with some guidance to get out of here quickly and efficiently. What do you think?
It's possible. I don't have any spells that could help divine the way, but I do have one that could help us determine whether or not this stranger that Astrid saw is either guiding us to salvation or ruin.
Please do it. Is there any way I can help?
Stand back. And Tobias is gonna reach into his pocket for some bones and kind of clear off a bit of snow from the ground. And he's gonna cast. Let me find it. That thing. Let me hold on.
Yeah,
let me
we all
cast
know
it.
that
cast
thing.
you. I want to cast augury.
Some Wheeler woe going.
I need to learn what that is.
Why didn't it let me do the thingy? Okay.
Astrid has gone over and is just clinging to Gwyn.
There we go.
You receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about the result of a specific course of action that you plan to take within the next 30 minutes. The GM chooses from the following possible omens: wheel for good results, woe for bad, wheel and woe for both good and bad results. Okay. So I guess I just tell you which one I pick. I'm gonna whisper it to you in roll 20.
Very well.
That is what I'm gonna do.
While Tobias is working on that, I'm going to kind of peel Astrid off me and hold her out. putting both my hands on her shoulders and says, Astrid, I do think that fire is our best option. Do you have any piece of leather on you at all that we could offer as tribute to the god of the forest?
Of course. And Astrid takes out her own knife and just cuts a huge chunk off the bottom of her coat.
Wonderful. I will lead Astrid to an area away from Tobias while he is performing his ritual, and I will clear off a spot of snow and lay the piece of leather down and offer a small ceremonial plea to the god of the forest to guide us through our journey in the forest to hopefully prevent the incoming onslaught to her people.
Give me a religion check with advantage.
Okay. Oh, Gwen is proficient in religion. Okay, cool. Hey, double 26.
Nice.
Double 26. You offer up this prayer and this piece of leather, and if there was any bad weather in the forest right now, you would have noticed that it clear up, and as much as perhaps Astrid may not like it, the path forward suddenly has a break in the clouds and like a beam of light pointing forward in the same direction that this figure pointed.
Well, if that doesn't confirm my reading, I don't know what does, but according to the bones, that stranger seems to be leading us in the right direction. However, there may be trouble along the way.
Whatever trouble we may run into, may the gods watch over us.
Yes.
Fire is the god of the forest, as a god of silence, but also the god of revenge. So, while we do have assistance at this point, I think it's fair that the reading Tobias had shows vengeance may be afoot, and we need to prepare for that as well.
Let us make haste then.
I didn't want to stop, but I had to know. I had to know.
Let's keep going. We have to get back home.
As you all begin your sprint once more, like it's been presented, it does seem that at least one of the gods have listened to your prayers, and the weather is bearable. It takes some time, it takes a couple of days, but eventually you reach the coast without hardly any trouble along the way. And there you see, in the distance, the docks of Azodhul, waiting for your arrival. And you're able to reach the small seaside village. You notice it only houses a couple dozen houses with prominent docks. You can find ships of different sizes tied to creaking poles, smaller ones most likely belonging to local fishermen. You notice that the townsfolk around here are very busy, most likely taking advantage of the acceptable weather to complete as much work as possible. At the center of the docks, you notice a large tree trunk has been masterfully chiseled to represent Thor in a solemn pose. You notice in front of this monument is a red-bearded man with a wooden leg leaning on crutches and is gesturing to the people around him with his free hand that no one seems to debate directions or commands from.
head straight for him.
Yeah, that's where Stormy would be heading, towards this statue and him.
Okay. All right. You begin walking to the docks, and you see as I said, red-bearded man, wooden leg. He's leaning on a crutch. He's ordering people around. You're able to get to him, but there's somewhat of a crowd around him still. What would you all like to do?
Barrel through. That's Astrid's mode. I mean, she's, just gonna be going, excuse me, this is an emergency. I gotta talk to your leader, excuse me. But, throwing some elbows if she has to.
Mm-hmm.
This is Karen getting to the front of the line at Starbucks, just not as impolite.
Mm-hmm. And you're able to do so. I mean, some people seem taken aback at what you're doing, but you're able to, squeeze your way and push your way to the front as the man is standing there looking at you with a curious look.
Pardon me, pardon my impoliteness. Are you in charge here? You seem to be.
I wouldn't say I'm in charge. That would be the Jarl, but in his old age, I have become somewhat of a leader of this community, yes.
So she gives him a nod of respect, and then says, I am Astrid, Asbjorn's daughter. I bring grave tidings, and we need to buy a ship. It's a matter of utmost urgency.
Give me a persuasion check with advantage for just name-dropping yourself, essentially.
Oh, heck yeah.
A 28.
Nice.
He listens to your story. He listens to what you're saying. And he grabs his crutch and he says, come walk with me. I have a ship I think I could take you to. And he begins hobbling down to the docks.
Before Astrid follows him, she does a very deep reverence to the Thor statue.
Hmm.
And then trots after him.
I would also be doing the same, giving thanks to Thor for guiding us, watching over us.
Okay.
Likewise, I will offer my thanks, and as we're hurrying along the docks, looking out towards the water, how does the weather look?
Give me a nature.
21.
Looking out towards the docks, smelling the air, and seeing the distance, there's a storm coming. And likely a bad one.
Oh, man.
Exciting.
Exciting indeed. But eventually...
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As we're running, I will say a small prayer to Njord for if weather cannot be perfect, if weather could be manageable. So I'm not asking for everything, but asking for some help. And I don't have the knowledge of what item would be presented to Njord as tidings. So until I figure what that out, I will not RP it. So it's just a prayer, a strong acknowledgement to the god of sea, wind, fish, and wealth.
Okay, so I will then I'll still let you do a religion check. I'm gonna say disadvantage. Okay.
18.
Still pretty good. Still pretty good. I'm not gonna tell you the effects of it right now because you're currently not in a storm. But you feel better that you said the prayer.
Cool, thank you.
Eventually, this man leads you down to the docks to what you see is a large and well-equipped looking ship. Across the side of it is painted in runic lettering to spell out the name Seahawk. And you see this red-bearded man walk up. You see him begin talking to a figure. This figure looks back at all of you, and then this man walks back and he says, let me find the name. Captain Tyher has agreed to let you all aboard his ship at no cost, just that you all depart once you reach the capital city.
We can't possibly let this be without cost. You may be saving the king and my entire city, my entire clan. I'm so sorry. What is your name?
You can call me Oswald. Osfald.
Oswald, I will be sure to remember you in my prayers and when speaking to my father. She's going to press some money on him.
How much?
I would like to give 50 gold to him and 50 to the captain.
The comparison of the two accepting the gold is very different. The Oswald takes the gold. You see a look of, like, I'm not going to say no to this, but I feel bad for taking it in his face. The captain just, he's taking it and feels no remorse whatsoever for taking your money.
Oswald, use this for your people. It doesn't have to be for you personally, but I would be shaming the gods who helped us get here and who gave us you here to help us.
He nods his head, he thanks you, and wishes you luck. Do you all board the Seahawk?
Yep.
Immediately.
Okay. You all begin to head out to sea, and because you know what? No, I'm not going to move you all yet, because I have to set some stuff around. So hold, please hold. Actually, you know what? I am going to move you all, because this map may be used. So I'm going to move you all here. If you could all place your tokens on the ship. I know the ship's probably not a Viking ship, but it's the only ship token I had. But if you could please place yourselves where you might, be on this ship. The ship does have various other crew members, as noted by the crew member tokens. Who would have guessed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thunk that a ship would have crew? You have not had a long rest, and I will let you all, going forward, know that even with your prayer, you will be in stormy weather. Due to the conditions of the storm, you are unable to take long rests. You're still able to sleep. Your characters still have to sleep, but you will be unable to gain the effects of a long rest and only short rests. Did I pause the music? No, the music is playing. That's not the music I want at all. This is what I want. Here we go. As you board the ship, the first night is when the bad weather strikes. A violent storm, despite your prayers, hits you with icy winds. Unless any of you decide to step up, as the waves and winds shake the ship, 3 of the sailors will step forward to control the sails and ready the ship from the winds. You can certainly help them if you wish by giving them the help action.
Yeah, I'd like to help. Unless there's
Same
a
here.
specific role that is either perception or acrobatics.
Nope.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna just assist one.
Okay.
I will also offer the help action because I'm pretty sure whatever they would need, I would not be able to assist with physically.
Okay, so here come...
Astrid is helping by staying out of the way.
Yes.
Fair.
And she is just praying frantically.
Okay. Okay. So, the crew begins sprinting around the ship, holding down the sails from the bustling winds and the heavy waves of the voyage, as nothing happens. They manage to succeed. They manage to hold down the ropes and everything against the winds, and the first night comes and goes. The second day comes and goes as well. However, the strong winds do feel like they're going to threaten to rip apart the sails, but everything holds up. So at this point, all of you are able to gain a short rest, or 2 even, if you wish, if a short rest gives you anything back.
Yes, thank you.
Such as lost HP. I know some of you took some hits.
Much appreciated.
Yes, yeah.
I can't remember if I did anything back on short rest besides health.
And as you're all healing, the third day comes as you pass by the coastal city of Herd. Just like the map portrays, the ship enters an area of the sea that is covered in huge ice sheets that force the captain to slow down. And I am going to make a check for a sailor.
Hey, did anybody else need to get some health back and didn't get as much as you would like?
I'm good on my end.
Okay.
I think I'm good as well.
Because I can do a song of rest if anybody needs it.
Perception's what? Wisdom? Yes. I answered my own question. Let's see here. Oh, I need to read this. Okay, wow. That's fun. The sailor, one of the lookouts, you hear shouting from the end of the ship. "Sharks up ahead! Make a turn!" And the captain turns the ship. That sailor just prevented you guys from fighting a group of sharks.
Oh, yes.
Well done, sailor.
That day and night goes by. The fourth day of travel is also uneventful. You see the uneven coasts of Norvegar are now a constant sight. And tired as you all are from this storm, the fifth day and last day of travel does go, and finally you all see Heil Hofn in the distance.
As we're approaching, Gwen will run down to the bunker and grab a bottle of mead and run up to the top and shout a prayer of thanks to Njord and uncork the bottle and dump it out off the side of the boat as tribute.
As you do that, you begin to notice that the waves are growing taller and stronger now that you are far from the coast, but your hopes are kindled when finally you spot the capital. Clinging to the dark shore like a victim of a shipwreck, struggling to stay above the water, Heil Hofn is a sight to behold, considering it is a settlement of considerable size and Astrid and Sturmir's home. You see several houses and building in solid wood with thick hay roofs covered in snow are huddled around the docks where about 10 ships are docked. All around, the city is encircled by a defensive palisade overlooked by tall guard towers. The captain of your ship makes the helm turn with a rough movement, making the ship lean on its side, aiming towards the docks. The sky is now covered with black clouds, and in the air, you can smell that a storm of monumental proportions is about to hit the region. Soon, lightning, thunder, and giant waves scourge the sea. The captain struggles to keep the helm straight with the wind and the salty water lashing at his face. And now I'm going to ask all of you, I'm going to ask the 4 of you. Do any of you wish to seek shelter below deck, or are you going to stay up top and help out the crew and captain?
I have a question. How far are we from shore?
Pretty far.
Can I get an estimate on travel time? How long it would take?
That is hard to do.
Is it longer than 20 minutes?
Likely, yes. You can see the city, but you're still far away from it. Especially with this newfound storm. So again, any of you staying up top to help, or are you going down below?
I think I'm gonna stay up top to help. But would it be possible, because this is a Viking longboat, right? It's single mast.
Yeah, more or less.
Could I tie myself to the mast with maybe 50 foot of rope?
Sure, I'm gonna ask you to roll a d6 first then.
Okay.
And while you're rolling that d6, I'm gonna pass the question to everyone else. Who's staying up? Anyone going down?
I think I'm gonna stay up and secure myself as well.
Since this is a Viking ship, it's probably got the big carved masthead out in front, right?
Mm-hmm.
Astrid is going to secure herself to that and stand and start shouting one of the poems that makes Thor look really, really good. So, like, one of the old, very famous stories of, like, one of his most impressive deeds.
I would be asking Thor for guidance through this storm.
Okay, how about Gwyn? Are you staying up or are you going under?
I'm staying up, but I'm doing something a lot more stupid than everybody else.
Oh, really?
Yep. I will go to the back of the boat, secure myself to that area, and then I want to cast a spell. So whenever you're ready to deal with me, come back to me.
Okay, so we're going to start with Tobias's 2. Tobias, please give me a strength saving throw. $14. You are, and there's a reason I didn't give you advantage for being tied up, because everything's happening so suddenly.
Okay.
You're running to tie yourself up. Sturmir's running to tie himself up. Astrid's running to the front to do the same. As you begin tying yourself up, an abrupt turn from the captain. To answer that question, no, the storm made long resting impossible.
Just checking.
A sudden turn from the captain, your hands on the rope let loose, and you go slamming into the side of the ship. And you're gonna take 5 bludgeoning damage as you slam into the side of the ship. Next up, Sturmir, roll me a d6.
D6. That sucks.
Okay, give me a dexterity saving throw. As you're running to tie yourself up, and you see Tobias get flung to the side, oh boy, a sudden lightning bolt strikes near you, and you're going to take 29 lightning damage.
Jesus!
Good lord.
Astrid, roll me a d6.
Cool.
Give me a constitution saving throw, as despite your heavy winter clothing, the freezing winds of this storm strike you. Congratulations, because you are standing there defiant in the front of the ship, and I'm going to move you there.
Okay.
You're
Sorry.
standing defiantly in the front of the ship, shouting this poem, and you fight through the freezing winds, and you do not gain a level of exhaustion. And finally, it's Gwyn. What are you trying to cast?
Okay. You have to go with me on this, Pike, because it's a wild one. So I want to cast my 3rd level spell, Wall of Water.
Okay.
And what I want to do is I want to build essentially like a ramp for the ship, and take the back of the ship's highest point up to the 30 feet in the air, and have a wall that goes down like a ramp to basically propel the ship forward.
Okay, yeah, you can do that, and I will give the ship a bonus to its docking into Heil Hofn.
Yeah, no shit. I can do this twice. The concentration lasts for 10 minutes, but what it doesn't say in the spell is if I can move the wall. So I'm assuming that it's just like essentially making the water come up. Is my assumption of what I could do with it for 10 minutes?
If it doesn't say you can't move it, then you can't move it, and it's just stationary. So like once the ship comes down from the ramp, it stays there, and the ship is down from the ramp.
Okay. So I would like to do that. Not to the point where we're like crazy excelling and going super fast, but I definitely am taking the height and the wind to our advantage and using it to propel us forward faster than how we would normally go, because it's at a slant and going whoosh.
Okay.
So that's what I want to do. I actually have 2 3rd level spell slots, and I would like to do this twice.
Okay, well also roll me a d6, please.
Sure. D6. 6.
Ooh, okay. You begin propelling the ship. As you begin propelling the ship, a similar large wave, like your own, but this one natural, slams into the side of the ship, and I need a strength saving throw from you, please.
Oh. Button. 9.
You will be taking 1 bludgeoning damage, but more unfortunately, well, I could be mean with this one, but I won't. I'll be nice. The force of this wave, and this is what it says, I'm just being honest with you, this is what it says. The force of this wave causes the character to lose an item, decided by the GM. Now, where I could be mean is it says you can lose your spellcasting focus. And things like that. I will not be mean on that front. However, you will lose your calligrapher's supplies in the waves.
No! My beautiful writing stuff!
And now, finally, Captain Tyher will make a check to steer the ship into Heil Hofn. Why are there two Astrids?
What?
There are two of yous.
Why?
Oh no.
Oh, maybe it's one that you
Yeah, let me
put out, and
this
then
old
I
one.
actually managed to
Can
do
you
it right
control
this
both
time.
of them? Can you control one of them?
Be funny.
I'll remove the one at the front of the ship.
But that's where I am. I can control both, yes.
Okay, then I'm gonna get rid of the one back here.
Nobody wants two Astrids? Fine.
Nope, nope. With a success, Captain Tyher manages to bring the ship to the docks safely, and you're all able to get a breath of relief as you have made it back to Heil Hofn. Ooh, I gotta turn that off. That's bright. And find yourselves at the docks. No, right here. That makes sense. That's the ship.
Astrid takes off sprinting.
You take off sprinting. I would like Tobias, Gwyn, and Stormy to give me perceptions.
And a D.
You guys see her take off sprinting, and you see like a pair of guards moving in to like intercept this sudden arrival, and like she just absolutely blows past them, and the guards are standing there like, what do we do? What just happened?
I will be going right behind Astrid.
So I see them thinking this, right? I'm just gonna yell at them.
Yeah, so what I'm picturing
As a princess, don't do anything.
due to the speed at which Astrid sprints forward, basically like leaving you all in the dust. All of you are still standing on the ship. And you see Astrid absolutely blow past these guards. And then you all are watching these guards standing there in confusion, still on the ship. So that's the
Yup, it's the
situation that
princess.
happens.
Yeah, I'm just gonna follow after, yelling that stuff.
Okay. You are all able to make it to the building. You know, once things have not calmed down, but Astrid, you are able to make it to, you know, your father's longhouse and the capital point of the city. Where
I'm screaming for my father.
yeah, you burst in and you see your father, King Asbjorn, sitting on his wooden throne. It is a masterfully engraved with typical Norse knotwork. And you would see him like immediately jump upwards at the sudden arrival. You would see his Royal Guard. Yeah, what's the actual name for them? Royal Guard. There's a name for them. Stand up with their weapons at the ready at this sudden intrusion. You would also see next to him his wife sitting in a similar throne. But this one embellished with golden details. Honor Guard, that's what they're called. You see the Honor Guard ready their weapons, but once he lays his eyes on you, King Asbjorn lowers his hand and all the guards go back to position as you have the floor, essentially.
I come in, not directly behind, but shortly after.
I was gonna say, you are... Yeah. You would definitely... I don't even think shortly after. You would maybe be like 5 minutes behind Astrid running through this giant city. She sprinted.
So, I just basically fling myself to the ground. I'm just so relieved that we made it first and that my father is alive and that, you know, the city isn't burning. And I just grab him kind of around the knees and just sobbing and out of breath, and just choke out, Father, we're about to be under siege. You must make ready. You've got to make ready.
He looks at you and walks over to you and hands out his hand.
I take it and sort of throw myself.
Yeah,
you know.
He would pull you up into an embrace. And I would say a little bit goes by. Eventually, the rest of you sprint into the building.
Astrid is absolutely snot crying and still just, Father, please send out the word.
Bow before King and say that what the princess speaks is true.
Let's be guess. Man covered in tattoos, surrounded by bright runes pulsating with power, at the head of an army of monsters, fools, and renegades.
You are wise indeed, my king.
He's still holding you, Astrid, and he says, if there's a look of confusion in your face,
absolutely,
he would say,
I've been receiving reports of this man from all the villages and the settlements in the area. I don't know how he can be in many places at the same time, but the stories are true, and what you tell me is true. He wields a power that should be beyond the grasp of mortals, only to be held by the gods.
Oh, what is our... I'm so sorry. What is our seer's name that sent us?
Thorgest?
Thorgest, yeah. Let me glance around for Thorgest.
Give me a perception.
Okay.
You do not see Thorgest. He is not here.
Okay.
However, you do see a couple familiar sights standing in attendance, essentially, as if they were listening to the king previously before you suddenly barged in, like perhaps this was a war council of sorts. The first two sights are very familiar to you. That being the armored figures of Eirik and Kjall Erikson. The
Buddies.
second group of people are also familiar to you, but ones that you are taken aback to see within your father's great hall. Those being the trio of wolves.
Oh, okay.
Berfin, Kennarl, and Oleg Greytail are in the court of King Asbjorn.
Oh, dang. That's huge.
Yeah, that's actually big.
Yeah.
But you do not see Thorgest, no.
Okay. So,
And
Father...
I'm just gonna give you one quick thing.
Okay.
With that 15, the twins are absolutely excited to see you.
Oh.
Like, they have a look on their face
so
of
cute.
happiness, but you also see the look in their face of, we can't interrupt this moment, otherwise the king will likely cut our heads off.
Yes. Later, boys. So, Astrid says, Father, please send for Thorgest. We need his counsel. We need to tell him what we found out. This man coming towards us is a rune thief, and we've got to figure out what to do. Of course, I don't doubt our might, but as you say, this is power beyond what we are used to dealing with.
You say this to him, and he looks at you, and he responds with, "It would be likely impossible to reach out. It is a miracle you made it back home. This army surrounds us on all sides. What little allies we could call upon we have, but there is not much left but prepare the population to..." And he kind of gets this, like, sudden drop in tone, almost a disappointed drop in tone when he says, "There's not much left but prepare the population to sail away when the assault begins."
What? Isn't there any way that people could sneak out and raise the clans, go call the banners? Can't we? Surely there's something.
As you say this, all of your attentions are brought from a dark corridor behind some of the honor guards, as bursting from a door is an older man, short hair, white beard, wearing a long white tunic with red and yellow accents. Hanging from his neck is a large and heavy brass chain with a wooden pendant shaped like a flame. "Your Highness, dire news!" As King Asbjorn turns to look. "What's wrong now, Father Ekjar? I had hoped at least the only flame could be our light in these times of darkness. I hoped that at least you would bring some good news." As the queen, still sitting in her chair, smiles. "The only flame burns brighter when we need it, and lights the way so that we have a clear sight of our goals and our foes. My king, do not doubt." And you would hear your Father Ekjar saying, "Oh, wise words, my queen," as he turns his attention towards the king and says, "The shipyard not far away from here. It's being attacked this very moment. I just received a communication from our brother Podi, who sent a magical message to the sacred hearth at the temple." You would feel, Astrid, your father suddenly let go of you and turn in like a rage as he says, "1,000 curses! If they destroy our ships, we won't be able to save the people of Heil Hofn. Our plan will be ruined." As the queen says, "My king, do not get angry. Can't we send some soldiers? We could repel the attackers before they do any damage." And then the king shakes his head and says, "There are no more soldiers. They are all spread throughout the villages to defend them. I have but a few honor guards and a bunch of recruits here in town. We are already neglecting our own safety." And you would see him ponder for a moment, and he turns around, and you immediately recognize, Astrid, a sad look in his eyes, as you can only imagine. You can guess what he's about to ask you to do, essentially. He puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "I despise myself for having to ask you this, to put my own daughter in greater danger than already. But it is with the love of a king for his people that I must ask you and beg you, my own daughter, to risk your lives for the city and go secure the shipyards."
My king, we will do whatever we need to repel these attackers.
What Sturmer says is true, Father. I answer not as your daughter, but as one who works for the people. But I will tell you, Father, find me Thorgest, and we go to do this in the name of the old gods, not in the name of the flame. And she just glares at the queen.
Give me an intimidation with advantage.
Ooh!
Oh, yes, do it.
You glare at the queen, and it's not so that she is intimidated. It's more so she's taken aback by it, and just returns a sour look at you. One that you've likely seen many a time.
Oh, massive hair flip.
And the king looks at you. I think we've previously discussed that despite being from the same family, you know, the king still towers over you a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Everyone does.
And so he looks at you and says, I thank you for your actions. There's not much I can offer you and your group, but I can give you some supplies. Shipyards are of utmost importance if we wish to save the city. I would ask that you head there immediately, but if you need to rest, I understand that as well. I will tell my men to begin some preparations for your journey.
How far away are the shipyards, Pi?
The shipyards... the shipyards are far enough away, and with the urgency, likely not enough to warrant... not enough to give you a long rest, I should say.
Not.
Yeah.
I just need to get my health back. That lightning.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think, Astrid just takes a moment and looks around at, you know, kind of these people who are unexpected and just sort of the hall in general and says, who's with us? Just very calmly, but firmly.
You see a bunch of figures looking around. The honor guard obviously don't respond. They have to remain to protect the king. However, you see the two twins immediately look at each other, look back at you, look back at each other, and they begin walking in your direction.
I nod at them, and then I turn my gaze to the wolves.
The wolves... How would the wolves respond? The wolves... You see Oleg standing there, arms crossed as you say this. Give me... Yeah, because unlike the twins who would jump immediately at assisting you, give me a persuasion. Wow! Wow!
Way dead. Holy shit.
Just looks over at them and they just walk over.
They show me their bellies.
That's insane. That is a 30!
Oh.
Someone put that in the chat. That needs to be
Oh,
documented.
hi. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, think of it this way. I completely effaced myself to these wolves to make sure they didn't get killed. And they know that. They know that.
You...
Alpha female, hi.
You look at the wolves. You look at Oleg, who has his arms crossed. and you see him talking to both of his archers. You see him whispering to both archers. And he nudges for both archers to join you.
All right.
When the archers approach, one of the archers, Kennarl, says, I guess we're going with you. Oleg is going to remain to bolster the traps around the city.
I think Astrid will nod to both of them and then just stride right over to Oleg and offer him, you know, her arm for forearm, whatever. Whatever those are called. Predator handshake.
Mm-hmm. He accepts it, and he pulls you in, and he says, I admire your strength, Odin's Eye, but know that I still dislike you and your kin, which is why I'm not coming with you. However, I'd rather work with you and see that our homes stay standing than see it all burn to the ground by disgusting magics. And then he lets go.
I just say back, your dislike of me and mine is honest and straightforward, and I honor you for it. And still thank you for your help.
Okay. This would be the point where as I said in our group chat, I do not have some maps prepared, so this would be the point where I would say, as you prepare for your journey, you know, we would fade to black. I apologize for it being a short session. I genuinely did not realize we would get to Heil Hofn today.
We're just that good.
And to be fair, it's also a makeup session for not playing yesterday. So, you know, this would also be the part where I would allow the, yeah, you kind of skipped the sharks. I'm shocked that that sailor rolled good enough to skip the sharks. This would be the point where I would allow the third figure to walk into the room. However, they just said be right back. So unfortunately, I can't do that right now. I can't have a Marvel introduction. So instead, I will ask you all, you have your allies. How do you begin preparing? The king will offer you a couple of things for your journey. He doesn't have much, but he can offer you some. He offers you 1 dose of oil of sharpness. He'll give each of you access to horses. He also gives an additional 500 gold and a potion of reinvigoration, which removes all levels of exhaustion and heals 2d4 damage. Well, as you have returned, as the king is exiting this back room with supplies and telling you of all the horses waiting in the stables, well, okay, never mind. He hands you all of this stuff and begins talking to you, asking you how you're going to handle this, essentially, asking battle plans.
I would... I don't know. Hang on.
And he himself would tell you the layout of the shipyards. They are in a ravine of sorts. You have to go down into a ravine, mountains on either sides that go into the water, where several buildings are. So it's kind of
I
like
would-
a choke point.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there would be any weaknesses we could exploit.
Yeah, he would tell you that it's single entrance in, single entrance out, other than obviously sailing.
Well, what's it like if we sail?
You
I
probably
mean,
with the atmosphere. Give me a perception.
okay.
Wow.
I'm on fire today.
With the atmosphere,
damn.
with the atmosphere of the city and how it is,
Mm,
you are unlikely to, even being the daughter of the king, unlikely to get an authorized ship to leave. You are lucky that you were the last boat in, essentially.
that's fair.
Given
That's
the
fair.
storm that Thor is putting out, I don't think sailing's our best option anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
I guess we will have to hold this choke point. It may be our greatest advantage. I would offer my hand to shake the king's hand and say, I wish it were under better circumstances, my king, but it is good to be home.
He would take your hand and welcome you home. He would have essentially immediately recognize you. He remembers his old war master. He remembers the kid.
But very belatedly, Astrid goes, "Oh, father, we found Surmir."
I offer you my services, my king.
Okay.
That's like after you said something to him in the first place, so it's completely
A little late, princess.
unnecessary. Yeah, just a little. Just a little.
Just give her a sort of a playful nudge. Little late, princess.
Sorry. I can give everybody an extra, let me roll it, d6 for a short rest this time if you need it.
Okay. Well, as you're all short resting, here is where we will finally have this moment. As you're all short resting, gathering these supplies, talking with the king, from a back room, finally, walks out a new figure, one that, even with history checks, none of you would recognize. Walking out from this room, would you like to describe yourself?
Yeah. So walking out, like you see this like hunched over old lady. You don't know whether like she's actually like big or if her clothing is just very loose. It's hard to tell because it could kind of go either way. Just like very much old lady, but also very surprisingly buff. Like you can see her arm at her bicep is like bulging through her shirt, but her arm at her wrist is like half the size of her shirt. It's very strange. And she has like 3 different like purses hanging off of her in various ways, and she's got a big old stick. And yeah, she looks like a weird old crazy grandma.
And as this weird old crazy grandma leaves the back room, before they can make introductions, that is going to be essentially the Marvel post-credit scene for this session. As we
zooms in on her face.
Yeah, as we fade to black and end it welcoming the newest member of Journey to Ragnarok.
Yay!
Yay, welcome!
I'm not allowed to be singing, sorry.
No, you should definitely not be, and rest that voice for next
Welcome,
time
welcome.
when you can properly introduce your crazy grandma.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited for Crazy Grandma.
But for now,
But
for now, short session, because as I said, I was not preparing you all to make it back to Heil Hofn so quickly. I was preparing for the sailor to fail his role and for you to fight sharks.
We just jumped them instead.
Yeah, you kind of just skipped over my damn sharks. Oh.
Did they have lasers?
You don't have time for your sharks, okay?
But
It's
for
a
now,
good thing we're milestone.
for now, everyone say goodbye to YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye,
YouTube!
Goodbye, YouTube, and see you next time on Journey to Ragnarok.